Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Historical Humans Reacts. As if we don't do enough of these, there's just so much out there to talk about. And on this week's docket, we're actually going to be looking at some really interesting research that's been done on Pompeii.
Yep.
Specifically, geospatial technology forms the basis of a digital twin of Pompeii. They recreated it digitally.
Yep. Uh, yeah. This one I got mailed to me.
Oh, very fun.
Ooh.
So my question to you all is when are we going to see this implemented into the next Assassin's Creed game? Because that's what I'm
So
hoping.
actually,
Never.
it's funny you mentioned that because it's actually already happened. Um,
Are you serious?
Genuinely, believe it or not,
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed games, they did a 3D rendering of the Notre Dame Cathedral in Notre Dame in Paris.
Yeah. That was AC Unity that they would have done that for.
Yep.
Additionally, for I believe Assassin's Creed Origins, they did scale everything exactly so you could do a historical walkthrough of the place in real time as if you're walking through the actual city.
But what they did specifically is they did a 3D scan, and with the reconstruction of Notre Dame, they're actually utilizing the scans that Assassin's Creed did to reconstruct the building as it was because it's
Oh
the most
wow.
complete 3D reconstruction. Yeah. No, like I know it's a joke, but like they've genuinely done
Yeah, this is Gen. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Video games saving the world. A completely different reaction than what we had planned for you today. We were planning to talk about Insula 14 and the work of Allison Emerson of Tulane University, uh, who have taken the ArcGIS software and rebuilt an entire block of the city in 3D modeling.
And the thing that's interesting is ArcGIS, for those who are unfamiliar, is a cartography software. It is a mapping software that is used very extensively with archaeologists, with utility companies, with anyone that actually has to do mapping. It's one of the most robust softwares. And what
Yeah,
they're
I
doing here,
Yeah, I'm certified in it, and
we
I
both,
did
yeah.
not and I have not imagined using that tool to create a 3D model. Uh, I exist in paper format only. I'm out of date already. No,
Well, that's what you get for being a classicist. If you joined North American archaeology, you would have been there already.
this is the classicists right here, Justin. These
Okay.
are the classicists making this.
Yeah, so now they're finally utilizing technology.
They're ahead
No,
of everyone.
but it's really
Uh,
cool. What they're doing is they're taking these scans of these structures and they're geo-referencing them. So, like we joked about with the Notre Dame Cathedral and with aspects of being able to walk through things in real time, you're able to get a true sense and feel of what these villages and towns look like, especially Pompeii, which is so well preserved. And they used the GIS software, the mapping software, to accurately pinpoint locations on a map.
Yeah, so what they did is they took some ground control points, which are just little spots in the ground where you took measurements and pinged it off the software that you're using to reference a grid for later. And then they went through the site and took some real-time kinematic GPS receivers um, to basically map out the entirety of the site. And these receivers are accurate to within 2 centimeters, and they can record in 3 dimensions. I mean, they don't just record, left, right, front, back, but also elevation.
And what they actually do talk about a little bit in the later bit of this article is they actually utilize that to their advantage. And what's really cool is you will see a lot of archaeologists use it to catalog stratigraphy and the vertical horizons in the dirt. So what they'll do is as they're removing the dirt, as they're excavating, they will take little pinpoint locations. Or if they find something cool, they'll pinpoint it within the unit. So you'll have both this recreation of the 3D modeling, but then you'll also be able to see in the dirt where they had to dig, so you could see depth as well.
Yeah. So basically, yeah. And what they did to make this very interesting is they would, as they went along, layer by layer, they would stop and retake the points
So
and
exactly what I was describing. Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. They took photographs and retook the points, and that allows them to create not just layer by layer images of the excavation, but when they're reconstructing it, they can reconstruct it based on what the entire building would have looked like in this era versus the next era, as these buildings are built on top of each other or repurposed. So like they can remove uh, extraneous features that are added later to show you the original, and then they can show you in full 3D what came after. If someone added a wall to make a new room, they can show you that new room coming into existence, and things like that.
Which is
And
just
so it's
really
very
interesting.
beautiful.
It's also cool that these articles actually show what that 3D rendering looks like. Because, yeah, I was talking about it because I've done work on projects similar to that, but it's cool to actually see like a fully professional mocked up version. And it just,
Yes.
oh,
Yeah. I believe if you go all the way down to the very last yeah, sorry. So if you look at the very last photograph in the article, all the way at the bottom, next to the benefits of efficiency, actually, you can see um, in that photograph doing the reconstruction, you can see the some of the math going on with them triangulating a pit on the side of the insula, and the sort of render as the 3D. You can see a 3D model sort of mid render, which is very nice. This is the 3D model and them sort of putting in the data points and it creating the next pit, the next wall. If you just look at it, if it wasn't for all the gray space around the edges that is just void without data, you would think you were looking at an actual photograph of the standing ruins.
it's really interesting because this stuff is cool and it's very much in its infancy currently, but the learning potential for this is next level, and it could take the form of virtual like VR tourism potentially, where you just pop on like a VR headset and you walk around the streets of Pompeii as if it were in the past. You could see it
Yeah.
in modern day. There's even people experimenting with VR museums where they 3D render a museum that you could walk around and view all the artifacts and everything.
Yeah, because like that's one of the things I've always disliked about seeing places via like photographs or online 3D models is you get, even if they put like a little human next to it, you don't get the sense of scale or grandeur that comes with actually standing in front of a 30-foot door. You don't get the sense of how big or how alive this was with this VR technology and with this 3D modeling. You get a very accurate model that you could, in theory, actually have someone view as if they are a human being standing on the street.
And I think that'd be really cool. And there's a lot of potential with it, and it's very important to start experimenting with things like this, because while there's a lot of hesitation with things becoming digital and with things going to virtual reality, there is also the very, very real concern that there are certain places that are going to be destroyed within our lifetimes, whether intentionally, unintentionally, accidentally. I mean, hell, Venice keeps flooding every year. How much longer is that going to be around?
Yeah, things like that. I'm one who is usually very hesitant to endorse sort of 3D models versus seeing the real thing, but necessity makes us all
But
makes hypocrites of us all.
we even talked about the practical use case that most people support with Notre Dame is the fact that those 3D renderings, while they were originally used for an entertainment purpose, actually turned out to be super valuable and almost invaluable, because we have pictures and photographs, but they have actual dimensions that we can use and scale and perfectly recreate.
Yeah, and since it seems to be about a good point to jump off, before we do, I would like to just draw some attention to what drew this particular article to our attention, which is if you're interested in more things like this, Esri, which is one of the main software companies, has a monthly newsletter called Arc News, where you can see various ways that this technology is being used uh, throughout all sorts of fields. We have just on the cover we have Pompeii, which is what we were talking about now, and also food banks. In this case, Milk Bank. Uh, just the front page alone, there's all sorts of articles in here. I'm not paid by them by any means. None of us are, but it's just if you like this kind of technology stuff, this is where it comes from for us.
Yeah, and I guess I might give them a little bit of a further endorsement. If you go to Esri's website, you can see the software, you can see the use cases. There's a lot of cool videos that show you how valuable it is. It's like the hidden gem, and if you're ever confused and want a job that's going to be really cool and very, very in demand, GIS. It only takes a certificate. And
yeah.
On that note, we're going to end today's episode. Thank you guys for watching. If there's something that you would like to see, drop a comment down below. Like the video, hit the subscribe button and the little notification bell so you don't miss out. And we'll see you guys in the next video.